Thanks for joining us on this special edition of KGW News. We continue to follow the aftermath of a shooting involving police officers in North Portland. Art Edwards joins us live from near where it happened. Art, what do we know?
Well, right now we're at Lombard and Portsmouth. This is still an active police scene. There are still a lot of officers out here on the scene, and they are likely going to be out here for quite some time. Now, we have some video of what it looked like just after police arrived on the scene. They got the call at about 5:15 this evening that there was somebody walking down the street in the 7600 block of North Portsmouth, and he was carrying a gun. North Precinct officers are the ones who responded to the scene. When they got here, they tried to contact the man, but he stayed armed. He did not put his gun down and took cover behind a car. There were gunshots that were eventually fired. The man was wounded. He was taken to the hospital. We're told by police that he will survive those gunshot wounds. Now, we also got the opportunity to talk to some people in the area, and it was a tense time for them.
I mean, we couldn't even open the door, and the cops were yelling. And then we saw all the SWAT come in. And then a little bit later, more gunfire, which we were assuming was the gunman being took down. But everybody was so scared.
Now, officers tell me that there were no other people who were injured. The person who had the gun was shot. He was taken to the hospital. He is in custody, but he is expected to survive. Police are still out here on the scene at Portsmouth and Lombard. Likely they'll be out here for quite some time as they work on their investigation. We'll have an update for you later on tonight at 11 o'clock. Back to you.
All right, our Art Edwards tonight. Thank you, Art. A local man's family is still looking for answers more than a month after the 20-year-old was shot and killed in a Portland park. In our More Than a Number initiative, Sydney Dorner spoke with his mother to learn more about her son as she pleads for people to come forward.
It's been over 40 days since Asher Mendez's death at Selwood Riverfront Park. His mother says he had expressed concerns of feeling threatened in the weeks leading up to his death. Luis Rodriguez gave birth to her son Asher Mendez in Hawaii.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Back in 2003.
Respectful to each other. You learn that from a young age. Caring, and I mean, the word aloha. That's what it was like there.
They moved to Portland when Asher was in 5th grade. She says that was the point his life took a turn.
He eventually kind of got into a group that wasn't the best choice in friends.
By the time he was 20, he decided to start a family.
Precious baby.
Mendez and the mother of his child battled with homelessness. They landed an apartment, then his ex-girlfriend decided to leave one night with their son.
And he woke up and they were gone, and that was in May, and he hadn't been able to see the baby since. He tried and he tried. He was heartbroken.
Mendez coped with the pain by frequently being out with his friends.
He's like, I am thinking about the baby. I'm just having such a hard time dealing with all this.
He was invited to a party on July 12th at Selwood Riverfront Park, where he was shot and killed.
Felt like at one point that my heart was literally breaking down the middle. Like I just felt it just pulling apart. Just devastated.
Detectives believe many people were in the area at the time of the shooting and left without speaking to officers.
And nobody is saying anything. I don't think it's unreasonable for me to question that, because I think it's something anybody would question. He didn't deserve this. He did not deserve this.
Right now, Asher's family has started a GoFundMe in hopes of raising reward money to motivate people to come forward with answers. Linked on our site at kgw.com. Back to you.
Thank you, Sydney. Our initiative aims to help give a face and a voice to victims and families impacted by tragedy. If you or someone you know has been a victim of a homicide and you'd like to share your story, you can reach out by sending us an email to morethananumber@kgw.com. A crash on I-84 caused by street racing sends 3 people to the hospital. It happened around 3 in the morning in the westbound lanes near the Airport Way exit. Gresham police officers say a white Mercedes was racing a car and hit another car, which caused it to roll over. While the driver fled the scene, 3 passengers were found inside hurt. The driver was later arrested and booked on multiple felony charges. More police are coming to Portland's Old Town neighborhood. It's an effort to address ongoing livability and security concerns. Starting next month, the Bureau will set up a mobile office by Northwest 3rd and Davis and leave a parked police vehicle near the Chinese Garden. Police have been working the area for months, increasing walking beats and pairing with outreach workers to help those struggling with addiction.
You know, there's a lot of people struggling and suffering, and I wish that the solutions could just be continuing to invest in their well-being and housing.
Actual resources, not just like food, but like people to talk to and housing and stuff.
There are a lot of things that need to happen down here. One of them is that we need a sense that laws are enforced.
The city says it will meet with the Old Town community about twice a month to talk safety. Well, turning now to weather, a cloudy and damp day across the Portland area on this Saturday. Ashley Grams is joining us now. And Ashley, it hasn't really felt like summer at all the past few days.
I know, we're closing out of August. Usually this time of year, we're much closer to 80 degrees. The past few days, we've been struggling to get up to 70, 67 degrees right now in the Rose City. Look at that beautiful shot from our Wells Fargo Tower camera. We have just seen so many clouds here over the past 48 hours or so. I think that's the darkness is contributing to that fall-like feeling. I do want to show you this absolutely gorgeous shot from our Newport camera right now. You can still see some clouds out there at the coast, so the coast largely missed out on all of this rain that we saw in the valley and in the Cascades here in the past 48 hours or so. A beautiful picture as the sun starts to set there. Enjoy those 8 p.m. sunsets because, of course, we are getting back down closer to those 7 p.m. sunsets as we head into September. Still 60 degrees out there at the coast this weekend. It's certainly going to be beautiful tomorrow as well. So we saw that rain here over the past 48 hours or so. Here's our radar from the last couple of hours, and you can really see how those showers have dispersed. We have a lot more of a clearing, but we still have some of these scattered showers here and there. So there's still a chance to see some of those here in the next few hours as we head into Sunday. But Sunday, certainly much warmer and drier than we have been. We'll talk more about that in your 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, Ashley, thank you. We'll see you a little while later in the show. We have a traffic alert you need to know for tonight. ODOT's going to close all northbound lanes of the I-5 bridge around 11. And so crews can rebuild the drawbridge sign and work on other systems. It should reopen at 7 tomorrow morning. Washington-bound traffic should take I-84 east to I-205 north across the Glenn Jackson Bridge over the Columbia River. The U.S. Coast Guard says the crew of a commercial fishing boat likely saved a man's life this week after they rescued him from a sinking ship. James Vagelli is the crew member of a commercial fishing boat that spotted the vessel in distress around 2 a.m. about 20 miles off the coast of Astoria. The vessel had lost power and was taking on water. James and his fellow crew members contacted the Coast Guard and realized they wouldn't arrive in time to rescue the man on that boat, who James describes as being between 70 and 80 years old. So they pulled their boat alongside and assisted the man aboard while battling choppy seas.
About 10 minutes later, his vessel starts sinking. It went onto its side and then did this where the bow was sticking up and started going down. And the chopper was up ahead right as it was going down. And he was in dire straits. There was no other boat around for several miles.
Unbelievable. James said the rescued man is named Larry and described Larry as being very grateful they were able to help him out. A statewide race in Washington to find the top 2 candidates is so tight that nearly 2 million ballots in the state will need to be recounted by hand. Today in Clark County, election workers began the task of sorting roughly 137,000 ballots by hand to start the recount. Former Washington District 3 Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Butler leads the race for the Public Lands Commissioner. But the difference between second and third is just 51 votes. That's right, just 51. A hand recount is automatically triggered when the difference is less than 1,000 votes and 0.25% between 2 candidates.
As we're looking at each, again, humans looking at each ballot on that one race, We will find, I'm sure we'll find some ballots where where the voter didn't mark the ballot as instructed, and it may well be that it will be added into the count or taken away from the count.
And he goes on to add that the recount in Clark County should be finished by the end of the week. The top two candidates will move on to the general election in November. In Portland, the Saturday market downtown went on as expected today, but with a fancy new title. It's entering its 51st year with the designation as an Oregon Heritage Tradition. According to the state's Parks and Recreation Department, these are events more than 50 years old that represent what it means to be an Oregonian. Other events with this title include the State Fair, Portland's Rose Festival, and Medford's Pear Blossom Festival. Coming up on the show, Oregon joining a Justice Department lawsuit over rent prices, how it could be impacting local renters. Plus, a community show of support for people battling breast cancer. Welcome back. Let's take a look at your national headlines. A federal judge in Kentucky has ruled Breonna Taylor's boyfriend caused her death. The judge says the boyfriend's actions when he fired a shot at police as they were breaking down the door of her apartment in 2020 was the legal cause of her death. Taylor was killed by officers who returned fire. The judge also threw out major felony charges against two former Louisville officers accused of falsifying a warrant in the case that led to the police raid. Some Secret Service officials have been placed on leave following the Trump assassination attempt in July. The Butler, Pennsylvania shooting injured Trump, killed one rally goer and injured two. Those on leave include the head of the Pittsburgh field office, whose office was responsible for coordinating the security plan with local law enforcement leading up to the rally. The exact number of officials on leave has not been confirmed, but the number may continue to grow as the internal investigation continues. On the campaign trail, former President Trump welcomed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to the stage during a rally Friday in Arizona. Kennedy endorsed Trump earlier in the day when he said he was suspending his independent presidential campaign. He said his internal polls showed his campaign would hurt Trump and help Democratic nominee Kamala Harris. Trump said he believes Kennedy's endorsement will have a huge influence on the campaign. Oregon and Washington have joined a federal lawsuit taking aim at high rent. Authorities blame a real estate software company for helping to drive up those prices. Catherine Cook has a look at the lawsuit against RealPage and what it means for local renters.
Driving up rental prices. It's what the Department of Justice is accusing real estate software company RealPage of doing. On Friday, after a 2-year-long investigation, they filed an antitrust lawsuit against the company.
Under the antitrust laws, landlords, like any other competitors, may not share with each other their confidential, sensitive data in a way that permits them to align how they price their products, in this case, apartments.
Attorney General Merrick Garland says by using the software's algorithm, competing landlords effectively agreed to outsource their pricing decisions to RealPage. By using the auto accept setting, they permit the company to determine the price a renter will pay.
Landlords understand what their arrangement with RealPage gets them. As one said, quote, "I always liked this product because your algorithm uses proprietary data from other subscribers, suggests rents and terms. That's classic price fixing."
When asked for a statement, RealPage told the Associated Press the Justice Department's claims were without merit. Portland renters advocate Margot Black hopes the lawsuit makes a difference for tenants.
Even for smaller outfits that aren't subscribing to this algorithm or feeding it data, they see those list price rents and they think, oh my gosh, I've got to raise my rent. So it trickles out even to the smaller landlords.
Several states, including Oregon and Washington, have joined the Justice Department in the lawsuit. Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum said, at a time when housing affordability is a top concern for Oregonians, and for countless Americans beyond our state's borders, the issues of fairness and competition could not be more critical.
Having the government really look under the hood about the way those prices come down and the impact on the consumers, on the renters, on the families living in those homes is long overdue.
Rosenblum added the lawsuit names specific markets where more than 30% of landlords are using RealPage subscriptions. That includes about 54,000 rental units across Beaverton, Aloha, and Central Portland. It was a show of support at the Oregon Zoo. Today, the Susan G. Komen Group held a walk to raise money for cancer research. The event brought together survivors and supporters to continue raising funds for breast cancer research. The group estimates about 1,000 people came out. We spoke to one participant who is a breast cancer survivor. She says these gatherings mean everything to her.
Community is what helps bring us all together, knowing that we're not alone and that we're in this all together. Although our journeys are very different, we all have similarities throughout our journeys that we can relate to each other.
Susan G. Komen says they raised about $66,000 with this event. Well, turning now to weather, quite a bit of rain out there yesterday. I got caught in a rainstorm. Rained pretty hard for about 20 minutes.
You were golfing, right?
Was golfing, got caught, got rained on.
I think a lot of people did. We saw those cells kind of moving around. You know, maybe they'd be in a place for an hour, maybe 30 minutes, and then they would move on. Got a lot of rainfall total yesterday. Let's take a look at our August rainfall. No, John was actually keeping up with this, I think, more than I was. He said, I think we passed our monthly average, and I said, you're right, because on yesterday we got less than 1/4 inch of rain, and that bumped us all the way up to past 1/2 inch for the month. That's a lot more than we got in July, seeing as we didn't even make it to 1/10 inch. But right now, that rain mostly over. Here's a look from the Rose City right now. Hard to see up there in the sky, but we've seen clouds mostly throughout the day. We struggled to get up to that 70-degree mark, much cooler than we usually are this time of year. Normally we're right around that 80-degree mark or so. But we do want to show you this radar from the past few hours. So we did have a low sitting right off the coast for the past 2 days or so. That low has since moved east past the Cascades, although we do still have an active system sitting over the Puget Sound, though that's really not affecting us here in western Oregon and in southwest Washington. You can see how most of those rain showers that we saw have since moved out of the way. We just have a couple stragglers here and there. So if you're on the coast, maybe you saw a couple sprinkles out if you were in downtown Portland today. But really, we're going to see things dry up since we saw that system move all the way east. Let's talk about those warmer temperatures that we're also going to see because of that system moving. Tomorrow, right around that noon hour, 73 degrees in Portland. So already, by the time we get halfway through the day, we are beating our high temperature from today. And that is the trend that we're going to see as we head into this next week. I know a lot of kids planning to start school. It was feeling like fall. They were ready to put on that brand new coat. well, actually we're heading back into those 80s and maybe even some 90s. We'll look at that 7-day forecast in just a minute, but fairly nice out at the coast tomorrow if you're looking for something to do on that Sunday. 69 degrees the high in Astoria, 70 in Tillamook, 76 in the Dalles, and cooling down just a bit for those on the eastern side of the state, a nice 73 degrees in Pendleton. We'll get much warmer than that as we head into the latter half of the day. 77 degrees could be that high in Portland. Let's talk about Futurecast. When are we going to see these clouds go away? These clouds have been hanging around. That's really what's making it feel like fall, at least to me. So here's Futurecast for us right about now as we move into early tomorrow morning. Maybe you're getting up right around that 7:30 a.m. and you can see when you wake up, should have clear blue skies for you. This clear blue sky trend should stay with us throughout the day, although you might notice just a couple of showers popping up there in the Longview area or on the northern part of the coast. But for most of us, it's going to be dry and beautiful. Here's that 7-day forecast we were talking about. Sunday is the day we really start to dry out, and you see we pop up to 78 degrees. But then I already teased this earlier, we're going back to those summer temperatures. So if you missed those summer, warm, sunny days, well, they're not going away yet.
I know one person that's going to be happy. Joe Ranieri wants a couple more days at the swimming pool this summer, so he's gonna enjoy seeing.
He's gonna get to have those.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, Ashley, thank you. Well, we're approaching the end of the KGW school supply drive, but there's still plenty of time to give. One of the best ways you can help out is to give online. That's why we wanted to make it as easy as possible. Just go to kgw.com/school and click donate. We want to thank On Point Community Credit Union, Safeway, and Rick's Custom Fencing for everything they're doing to make this year's school supply drive a huge success. Well, still to come on the show, the Portland Thorns had some time off, but now they're back with their first league matchup in more than a month. Orlando's here with a recap after this.
What is good, everyone? Fresh off the Olympic break, the Portland Thorns kicked off the second half of the season, playing their first league match since early July. The Thorns making the trip to New Jersey to take on defending champion Gotham FC, a team just above them in the NWSL standings. And Portland got worked. The offense had just 3 shots on goal, while Gotham had 9 en route to a 2-0 shutout. Olympic gold medalists Sophia Smith and Sam Coffey did not play, and they could have used them. The Thorns have just 1 win in their last 5 matches. They sit 5th in the standings. Maybe some home cooking will help. They're back at Providence Park Friday night. Speaking of Providence Park, it was rocking tonight. The Portland Timbers back to work, trying to maintain playoff position in a jam-packed Western Conference, playing host to St. Louis City. So much action so far, but the Timbers are in trouble, trailing 3-1 to open the second half. Start your engines. Grand Prix of Portland qualifying day at PIR. Santino Ferrucci had the top lap of the day, just over 58.2 seconds to earn his first Indy pole. And he'll have his work cut out for him against a stacked field. Alex Palou is trying to take the checkered flag for the second year in a row. He tells us what makes this race so challenging.
It's a short track, which makes as soon as you do a small mistake, you're done. So not many runoff areas. So to go to the to get to the limit, it's pretty tough without breaking the car. So yeah, makes it interesting.
Tomorrow's 110-lap race begins at 12:30 at Portland International Raceway. The Grand Prix of Portland will be nationally televised on USA Network and Peacock. Meanwhile, up north, a dress rehearsal for the Seattle Seahawks wrapping up the preseason against the Cleveland Browns. The Seahawks starters did play in this one, and it took them just over 2 minutes to score on the opening drive. Geno Smith hitting DK Metcalf for the first TD. And then like that, their night was over. Seahawks lead 24-13 to start the third quarter. And I am feeling emotional today. It's because college football is back, baby. The first game of the day in Ireland between 10th-ranked Florida State and Georgia Tech. Former Beaver DJ Uyunglele now at FSU. But this was about Georgia Tech delivering the upset on a last-second 44-yard field goal, stunning the Noles 24-21. Their first top 10 win since 2015, who, oh, by the way, they beat FSU then as well. What a way to kick off the college football season. We are here.
Nice little appetizer before it really kicks off next week.
As they say, week 0.
Exactly. All right, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here. Well, no, we have 1 minute left, so we've got time to talk a little bit of college football. But college football obviously kicks off next weekend. Weather looking nice this week coming up.
Definitely. Well, we're a Trojan house, so we're waiting for SC to play next
there we
weekend.
Go.
One last look at that 7-day forecast for you. We are heading into some more summer-like weather. Things drying up here as we head into Sunday. It's going to be beautiful. If you're looking for things to do, I'd say go outside before we head into Monday. Lots of kids starting school on Tuesday. Certainly not going to feel like fall. We're heading back into those 80s and 90s later on this week. Now look at that. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend, 92. So it should be a wonderful time to get out there and enjoy it. So if you can get past these scattered showers tonight, looks like a good week ahead.
92 doesn't feel like football season. It felt more like football season this weekend, right?
Yeah, the sun will be shining bright in Eugene and at Autzen Stadium as well as in Corvallis or Reeser. What a way to open the college football season.
We are all super excited for it. Of course, KGW is going to have college football all fall. There's a beautiful look over Portland tonight. For real this time. Good night. We'll see you back here at 11.